Hello, Stampers. Welcome to Learning with Friends. I am Pat Fairless from Fairless Stampin' Flair, and let's make a bow. The mini catalog, the current mini catalog, the fall mini, has a die in there where all you have to do is run it through the die cut machine, and you get everything you need to make a bow. But we're going to step it up a little bit. So let me fill my flip. I can't talk today. Let me flip my camera down and let's get started. So let me show you the die. This is the die. It's called Make a Bow. And it's going to cut out 3 long strips, 2 medium-sized strips, and a shorter one. And you can basically use any kind of paper, designer paper, cardstock, whatever you want to use. I've tried some different things, and let me just show you. Here is a bow that I made using 2-sided designer paper. So you can see the inside. This is a retired piece. I practiced on retired cardstock, and I would definitely recommend that to all of you, that just practice on your retired stuff, or pick something you don't like in case you mess it up. Now, it's not really that hard, but and you're probably not going to mess it up. But I did, by using some different kinds of paper, I did learn a few things. So this is just the standard bow that you would get if you cut 2-sided designer series paper and assemble it. And I'm going to step it up a bit for you today. I'm going to use vellum. And this vellum comes from the suite with the great Season of Green and Gold, I think it's called. It's a Christmas suite. And it's just, now vellum is obviously one-sided in theory, but you can see it on both sides, but it's going to look the same. But we're going to step this up a bit, but I'm just kind of going to first walk you through what you do. So you take 2 sheets of designer series paper. Now, if you're going to use cardstock, I would cut one at a time. But if you're using designer paper, and certainly this vellum, we can cut 2 at a time. This is going to be hard to see, but let me just kind of pick it up to help. I think it'll be easier to see. It fits on a 6x6 piece of paper, and you need 2 pieces to make a full bow. So, and it is close. You can see we had just a little edge on each side. And then we just run this through the die cut machine. And my recommendation is that you place it in this orientation when you put it through, where you have the stepped version at the top, because it'll go through so much easier than if you try to put it through this way, because now you've got this side all lined up. So we would run this through our die cut machine, and voila, by the miracle of TV or video or whatever you want to call it, I've already done that. So you will end up with 6 long ones, 4 medium size, and 2 short ones. And depending on how you make your bow, you may or you may not use all of them. Now, if I just show you this one with designer paper, 2-sided designer paper, I only used 1 in the center. You can put, these are for the center, you can put 2 of them in the center, but it gets kind of crowded. And it was really sort of hard to get them in there. So I just did 1. But I said we're going to step it up. So what I'm going to try to do today is, here's my practice one. I tucked in some ribbon. Now this is just ribbon. Somebody gave me a gift one day, years ago probably. I kind of hoard ribbon. And so I just went to my stash and I found some ribbon and cut it into pieces and created some loops. So we're going to do that today with our vellum. Now the first thing I want to show you is, once you get your strips, I already have half of them together. When you cross these over, bring this up close, you see you're going to line up these two edges and you will end up with kind of a little point. When you have that little point and these edges are lined up, then you know you've got it correctly. Now, my other hint is always go in the same direction. So if you went right over left, then do them all right over left. If you're inclined to go left over right, then do them all that way. So this would be the left over right. It doesn't matter which way you prefer to do it. They will all turn out fine. We're going to just put a little liquid adhesive on what I'm calling the inside, and we will flip it over and just hold it for a second or so until it's dry. You could use hot glue. I do have my hot glue gun on. Oh, and my glasses are laying under. That's probably not a good thing. Because I found the glue gun helped me with the ribbon. So we're just going to go ahead and put all of these together. Now, one thing I forgot to show you, that it does help if you take your bone folder, and particularly if you've got regular paper as opposed to vellum, and just kind of run this over it to sort of break those fibers a little bit. So on the vellum, it's hard to tell what the right side is. They look the same on both sides, but I can feel it based on how I cut it, because this edge is raised a little bit. So we're just going to kind of break each of these. We'll say break the fibers. I don't know if there's fibers on vellum. I don't think so. I have no idea what vellum is made out of. Does anybody know? I have no idea. Certainly doesn't feel like wood fibers like paper, but who knows? Could be, but it still does help. It just makes it kind of bend a little bit easier. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the rest of them here. And I just scribble a little bit on one end, and I do right over left. I think that's a right-handed thing. I don't know. If you're left-handed, maybe left over right works better for you. But like I said, it doesn't really matter. Just do them all the same. Just be consistent whichever way you go, so that they will all look the same. And you're ending up with each of these. This is the little piece you're ending up with. And when you're all done, you will have 6 of the large ones, or the longer ones, 4 of these medium size. Make sure I stay here in the frame of the camera. I want to pull it towards me. That's where I'm used to working, is up close. So when I have to push it away from me, I have to remind myself to do that. Otherwise, I watch some of my own videos back and I'm like, oh, you're way down here in the corner. They can't hardly see what you're doing. That's not good. Get it back in the middle, Pat. So one more of the medium size. Now I also did find, oh, this is the short one. Actually, we're gonna make this one go around like this. This is the shortest one. So we're just kind of going to make a loop. Don't know exactly how big to make the loop. Just do what feels good. Fatter than your finger. Little fatter than my thumb. And I'm not going to use this last piece. So, all right, so now I should have 6 of these longer ones. And I do. And I should have 4 of these, we'll call them medium-sized ones, and this one loop. Okay, so now we're going to start to assemble our bow. But before I do that, let me show you what I did with my ribbon. So I found another piece of ribbon. I thought it's got real sparkly on one side. Can you see that? I thought that might look pretty tucked in with this vellum. I don't know, I haven't made it. I cut these about 5 inches long, I think. And then I just took it and I kind of scrunched it up like this. Now I used a piece of, and this is wired ribbon, which works really nice. My sample here is not, so you don't need wire ribbon. I used some floral wire and wrapped that around here. And that's how I held mine in place. You could certainly use linen thread or baker's twine. And then I just kind of twisted it. And because this is not the really thin floral ribbon or floral wire, it's a little bit heavier. I had to get out my pliers and twist that up tight. And then I'll just take this and clip it off a little bit shorter. Okay, so that's how I did mine. You can certainly use, like I said, use some linen thread, some baker's twine, whatever works easiest, whatever you have, to just kind of hold this and snug it up tight. All right, so I have 1, 2, 3, I have 4, I have 6 of these. It's probably, probably about 6 is how I did the last one. This is the one I'm kind of following here with this reddish purple ribbon. So we're going to try it with this current product stuff. So now I just take, and here we could use hot glue. I try to avoid hot glue. I will use it for the ribbon, but I don't know about you, but I burn myself with hot glue more times than not. So now, depending on how big you want this bow to be, you can push this in further or pull it further apart. You just want to make sure you get enough here to overlap so it's going to stick together and hold together pretty good. So you're going to start with the bottom row, or layer, let's call it. And we're going to use all 6 of the larger ones. So I just added my multi-purpose glue to the back. Now we're going to take the other 2 and we're going to divide this 180 degrees, or this half a circle here, into thirds. And just lay this in here. You kind of want to hold them a minute until they are stuck. That should be about 1/3 of the way, and then this one we will add over here. Nice thing about multi-purpose glue is if you need to, you can move it around, scrunch it for just a bit, especially with the vellum, because the vellum takes a little longer to dry even than designer series paper. And I will be showing you one I made out of cardstock. I did that one a little bit differently. It's a way I read someplace you could do it. And we'll talk about that when I show you. All right, so let's get these last 2 in here. This does tend to get a little full. And I didn't hold that one quite long enough. You can put your glue either on the back or just put it on the bottom of the bow, whatever works best for you. Doesn't really matter. Some of this stuff is whatever works best for you. And we're just going to hold it a minute until it dries. And we're trying not to pull it apart because I have glue on my fingers, of course. So there is the start of our bow. Now to step this up, I want to tuck some of this little sparkly ribbon in here. And I'm going to put this kind of, if I say this is 12 o'clock up here, I'm going to put this at about 2 o'clock and 10 o'clock, or thereabouts, maybe 2:30 and 10:30. kind of look at where it is. You kind of want them between the two tips. So between these two tips, and then we'll take the other one and we'll put it between these. So I sort of have like 2 points in between each one. So I have some of these that feel like they're a little bit shorter. I'm going to use my shorter ones on the inside, and then these longer ones I'm going to put on the back. So now I'm going to see if I can do this without burning myself. So let me grab my glue gun here, and I wish I had a non-corded one, but I don't. So it's been sitting here cooking. And we are just going to stick this down in here. Yeah, it's hot. Owie. Okay. Oh, and you get these little wispy whisker thingies that go everywhere. All right, here's the other one. And I'm going to lay this one kind of between these two. So I've got 2 points, and then I'll stick this one between these two. So let me get some glue on here. And this ribbon would definitely not make a good pot holder because it soaks right through 2 layers of glue and burns your fingers. It's hot. But it holds really well. All right, so now we've got 2 here, 2 here, and we're going to put our 3rd ribbon over here. Okay, so let me get some glue on here. And stick this down in here. Ow. Ow. That one was hot. I think I had a bigger pile and it soaked through my fingers. The thing about hot glue is it does come off your fingers pretty good. It's a little red mark, but oh well. It's what we do for pretty, right? And here, you know, these wires do kind of let it help. So now we're going to try to tuck some of these short ones. And I know we have 4, but I kind of found that just one here in between each ribbon actually fits a little bit better. And because I am going kind of in weird places, I am going to stick with my hot glue gun, and I'm just going to squirt it on over here where the drippy thing is. And I'm going to stick this down in between those points of ribbon, okay? And get that one between these 2 pieces. You see me picking my finger up because it is hot. And we can adjust once we're down. And I'm just going to give this a good squeeze to kind of hold it down. And I'm just going to put one more in between there. Now, if we didn't have the ribbon in there, then we would use all 4 in this layer, like this one here. This one has 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 in there. But on my practice one, I figured out, I tried to put 4 in at first, and it was like, oh, it's too full. I think it looks better if I just put 3. So now we can fluff our ribbon. Well, I'm liking this. This is kind of really pretty. Okay, and I'm going to take this little loopy here, and I will put some hot glue on here and stick this down in there. Ouch. Oh, I've got hot glue on that finger. Like a lot of hot glue on that finger. Ah. The things I do to show you guys, I'm burning myself. Okay, and I think I didn't get the glue in the right place after all that, because now it doesn't want to, oh, there we go. I just gotta cook my thumb a little bit. Okay, and now we just can kind of adjust our bow. No, we can leave that like that. That actually is kind of pretty that way, right? But since I made these other ones, and I went to the trouble of making them, let's just go ahead and add these on the bottom. And again, with the ribbon, I'm going to use the hot glue. Oh, I have wispies everywhere. My wire kind of in there. And let's go ahead and put a glob of glue on there. And I'm going to put these so they are in between these other ribbons. So the other one I'm going to put between these two, so we'll stick this one out here. I am using my silicone mat because there is lots of glue. Oh, I have to. I think if I peel that glue off, I'm going to peel skin off. Okay. So this one I want to put between these two. I'm just going to push this down from this side and hold it for a minute. It's not hot on this side. If I stick it and push it up from the other side, the glue comes through the ribbon and it's hot. And one more. And we're going to put that between these two pieces of ribbon over here. And push that down. Now again, because this is wired ribbon, I can shape these little loops a little bit if I want to. If I get it too far out, I can always just bend it in. There we go. All right, move my gun out of the way. Pick up. Oh, got a little bit of glue over there. Okay. All right. Move that out of the way. So let me show you this. Doesn't look very pretty on the other side. But what I would say is on the other side, you can die cut a circle and just cover up this mess. Or just stick it on the package and nobody knows anyway, right? Doesn't really matter what that other side looks like. And there we go. That turned out pretty. I like that. That looks very elegant. Can you see all the sparkles on that ribbon? Yeah, isn't that cool? So that is a stepped up version of this bow. This is the bow that if you just do the die cut, that's the bow you'll get. Here's a little stepped up version with some ribbon in there. Now I wanted to show you this other one. This one was made with cardstock and I used old olive cardstock. And I saw somewhere where they had embossed, heat embossed the inside with either silver or gold or whatever color metallic you wanted. And so I did that with this. Before I die cut, I just took each of my 6x6 pieces of cardstock and I embossed it with silver embossing powder. Honestly, I would not bother. Can you see it? It is in there. But because these bows are so full and dense, it doesn't, I'm not sure it's worth the effort. If I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure it's worth the effort because you can barely see it once your bow is made. So I would quite frankly, also cardstock is much heavier and it was more difficult to work with and to get in there and jam them in there. I did zhuzh this one up a bit with just a little cute ribbon with some little snowman guys on here. because I thought the silver would show more than it does, I tried to pick up some silver in the ribbon, but it doesn't really show that much. So simple bow, two-sided designer series paper, vellum bow, zhuzhed up with some pretty sparkly ribbon, and this one is heat embossed with some ribbon just on the back. Okay, so that's my 3 bows, and I did have this one which was made out of my practice from vellum. So there we go. That's it. Let me flip the camera back to me, and we will wrap this up. And I think I have to go put a Band-Aid on my finger. I burned it. I'll live. Anyway, I hope you like that. It is a fun little die that you can make bows any color you want to match your packaging, as long as you got whatever cardstock color you have or designer paper. We will be making some in my class this weekend here, in-person class. So I hope the campers like it, my stamp campers, and I hope you liked it. I hope I gave you some ideas. And we will see you next week with something else. And until then, have a great day. I'd love it if you give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Even if you didn't like it, just give me one because I burned my fingers. How about that? I'm kidding. Have a great day, friends. See you next week. God bless.